Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Justin here and Tomoko making Team Leaper. Justin to tell you a little story. Yes, I'm wearing my 14th generation Toilet Hanako-san t-shirt. She's a underground idol that we both enjoy. I'll put a link to her Twitter in the description. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about a little excursion I took recently at the neighborhood game shop. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Geo.
Yeah, Geo. Spelled here Geo, but it's pronounced Geo. And that's where I bought my used PS3. It's where I bought my copy of Death Stranding. And just the other day, it's where I bought this. Now this is, what's that say?
Exciting Pro Wrestling 3.
Yeah, Exciting Pro Wrestling 3. However, we in the United States know it as WWF SmackDown Just Bring It. Now, this is the very first WWF game for PlayStation 2. It's also the last WWF game to be called WWF. This was before Vince McMahon got the F out. But that is not, by any stretch, the only interesting thing about this game. Now, if we look at the box here, we will see there's a Yuke's logo, the developer that we all know from Yokohama. There's no THQ logo here. They are not the publisher of this game. How is that possible? Well, let's look at the back too. Let's see. Okay, you've got Yuke's Jack Pacific. Oh, there's THQ just above the DVD-ROM logo. That's kind of not the best placement for a game publisher. And that's because they did not publish Exciting Pro Wrestling 3, aka WWF Just SmackDown Just Bring It in Japan. Yuke's did that. However, Yuke's was not a game publisher. Yuke's did not have the license to publish a WWF video game anywhere, much less Japan. You would think that Sony might have stepped in and said, hey guys, before we put our name and logo on there, are you guys cool with, do you have the license and everything? But in Japan, the way Japan is, if you say, well, here's the game, I have all the stuff, usually the other person will say, oh, okay, I believe you. Japan is a very trusting society, which leaves it open to be manipulated and cheated by people who are maybe more nefarious in their desires. Do you know that word, nefarious?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, we never do background screening when people try to hire someone.
How do you know about background screening, Tomoko?
Because I used to be working at a background screening company in Japan.
So Sony just assumed that Yuke's had the license to make these WWE games. They brought the disc, the code, it said WWE on them with the trademark and everything. And Yuke's was kind of like, yeah, that's us. So they made all these exciting pro wrestling games by themselves without WWE knowing, without THQ knowing. So this did not make THQ happy. And at the time, THQ, when they finally discovered about Exciting Pro Wrestling and how Yuke's was selling these games kind of independently, they were already butting heads with Yuke's. There was an issue of Yuke's was making a game called Rumble Roses, which was a Joshi Pro Wrestling game, kind of a Gravier Joshi Pro Wrestling game. So a female pro wrestling game with like sexy characters for Konami for PS2, which probably used some of the assets and engine and maybe even the time that THQ was paying Yuke's for to make WWE games. So that did not make them happy. This was also around the time where WWE was suing THQ and suing Jack's Pacific over a publishing thing, which I've actually talked about in a previous video, and I'll link to that. It'll be pretty easy to find and get the whole story about the Jack's Pacific lawsuit. But WWE sued Yuke's over this, and they sued THQ because in the United States, you can sue anybody for any reason. So while THQ was kind of while THQ was really the victim in this also, WWE sued them, and they're like, how are you letting your developer, the person you're paying to make these games, go out and sell these games also? So THQ was very unhappy about that. Those lawsuits disappeared. They disappeared. The way business works in the US, from what I hear in this case, is that certain people from one company or friends of one company were hired by another company, and then the lawsuits kind of went away. There might have been some other money exchanging hands, but somehow Yuke's stayed developing these games, THQ stayed publishing these games, and WWE kept making good money on these pretty good games. But there was some backlash. So there was a new division of THQ formed called THQ Japan. It was formed in 2006. And its job was to babysit Yuke's, to make sure that they weren't doing this bad stuff. And at the same time, there was a new agreement with Yuke's and THQ. And what that agreement stated was, of course, no making unlawful games and selling them yourself, obviously. But also, in the agreement, they stated, Yuke's, you're not making any other wrestling games. You are making this game and that's it. You're not doing Rumble Roses. You're not doing whatever else. At one point, Yuke's actually owned a wrestling promotion in Japan. But Rumble Roses had a sequel on Xbox 360, which is not a popular system in Japan. But there's no Yuke's anywhere listed on that. It's all Konami. So, Yuke's had presumably nothing to do with that.
Konami.
Really, in the end, Yuke's and THQ continued their prosperous, mutually beneficial relationship. However, without any more exciting pro-res-san or yon or go, or I think they stopped at go, so maybe there was no roku, there was no sixth. I think they only made 5 of them. But that is a tale that maybe other people did not know about. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know about that. So thank you for listening to me and super special surprise guest Tomoko, who decided to join me here in the sound booth to fill you in on another kind of untold story of video gaming. So this has been Team Leaper. Thank you for watching as always, and we'll see you again. Bye.
Bye. Hello. Thanks for watching, and please like this video, and please subscribe, and
Have a lovely day.